Someone in the comments asked me to make a full list of every free Switch 2 upgrade available right now because they couldn't find one. And I thought, surely, there must be one out there already. Well, it turns out, after a lot of digging, there wasn't. There's a few incomplete ones or ones with incorrect information, but nothing complete. So that's what we're fixing today. This is every free Switch 2 upgrade you can grab right now. Let's get into it. If you do find this useful, then do me a favor, hit subscribe, and also drop comments down below recommending free upgrades you've checked out that other people should be playing. It really helps others just discover great stuff on Switch 2. So first up for the list, every game that has a Nintendo Switch 2 Edition upgrade pack. Basically, you can download these directly from the eShop. Now, there are some free upgrades that work a bit differently, and we will get to those shortly. Red Dead Redemption first then, Rockstar's classic Western adventure. It now runs at a smooth 60 FPS on Switch 2 with higher resolution, HDR support, and even mouse-style controls. There's no gyro, sadly, but everything here looks cleaner and it just plays tighter across the frontier. It is a brilliant chance to revisit one of the greatest games ever made. No Man's Sky really opens up on Switch 2 with full multiplayer support, cross-save, a much steadier frame rate, and faster loading across every planet. You also then get enhanced lighting, sharper textures, more detailed foliage, and full settlement management. This lets you build and oversee growing communities on distant worlds. It is honestly a game changer for fans of No Man's Sky, though I do question why mouse-style controls haven't been included because it makes so much sense here. Hades 2 offers a 120 FPS performance mode, that's for those that want ultra-smooth combat, or for those that prioritize the visuals, a higher resolution 60 FPS option. That image clarity, noticeably sharper either way. Think more detailed textures, upgraded effects. It just makes every hit and spell feel that bit more explosive. But with this one, it already looked fantastic, but this added fluidity just makes every run feel, even more satisfying. Hollow Knight Silksong. Same idea. It offers a 120 FPS performance mode for ultra-smooth combat, or a higher resolution 60 FPS option that really just keeps the world looking crisp during the exploration. Now, visual effects here then, they get an upgrade too. It makes attacks, particles, and environmental details just stand out more during what is extremely fast platforming and combat. It already had a stunning art style, and these options just let you pick what matters most, absolute fluidity or extra clarity. Dave the Diver now runs at a clean 60 FPS with sharper image quality. It makes both diving and sushi bar shifts feel way more responsive. Colors underwater pop more, details stand out around reefs and wrecks, and overall pacing stays smooth, even though I will say here, the small camera hitch known in this game, it is still very much present. It is, however, the best way to enjoy that brilliant routine of deep sea exploration by day and restaurant chaos by night. Final Fantasy Tactics gets a cleaner, sharper presentation, pairing its smooth 60 FPS action with a noticeably higher resolution that brings character sprites and battleground details to life. And the artwork looks clearer across the board without ever losing that classic style. It just makes moves and effects feel more readable in the heat of strategy. Yeah, it's a great way to rediscover one of the best tactical RPGs ever made. One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 steps up big with a smoother frame rate, upgraded resolution, much sharper visuals, and just better texture work as well. It brings its chaotic pirate battles and island environments to life. Expect though, more enemies on screen at once, character models and effects now pop with extra detail, and overall performance feels much more stable than ever. If you enjoyed the Straw Hats battles on Switch, this version does them the justice they deserve. The Simogo Legacy Collection runs up to 120 FPS in handheld at 1080p, or 120 FPS at 1440p on the TV, with a 60 FPS 4K option if you do want more resolution instead of frame rates. Now, mouse-style controls, they are also supported here using the Joy-Con. It makes input cleaner and snappier during puzzles and interactions, and these upgrades, they give each game a smoother flow and a much cleaner on-screen look that definitely fits the sharp visual style perfectly. Lynked Banner of the Spark includes a steadier frame rate and clearer visuals, plus mouse-style controls. There's also GameShare support via Game Chat. Now, haven't played this one personally, so that's really all I can say. Ball Pit looks dramatically cleaner here thanks to a big jump in resolution and performance end takes a step up too. It's targeting 90 FPS in handheld and 60 FPS when docked. Now there are still some frame rate dips here and there, but nothing that gets in the way of just how incredible this game is. And compared to the Switch 1 version, I have to add here, the visual upgrade is night and day. So yeah, this game, it was a surprise hit for me at a Gamescom. Highly recommended. Brotato benefits from a noticeably cleaner image and smoother performance. The higher resolution here just helps enemies, projectiles and pickups. They stand out now better during each wave. You also get 4-player local co-op and GameShare with local users. So basically with this one, sharper image, and it's also making it much easier to jump in with mates. High on Life is a huge step up here. Higher resolution, upgraded textures, better visual effects, a more stable frame rate, even mouse style controls. Now the Switch 1 version was ambitious, let's put it that way, but it was clearly held back by hardware limits. Think muddy visuals, low resolution, and a frame rate that it swung all over the place. This upgrade cleans it up massively. It's locking gameplay at up to 1080p, 30 FPS when docked, and while I know some will wish it hit 60, and I do get it, I will say, look, it's a single player game. And honestly, if you already own it, this version, 100% worth checking out. Shadow Labyrinth then has an upgraded resolution and a 60 FPS target in the Switch 2 build, but at launch, the performance was actually worse than the original Switch build. There was frame pacing issues, it made everything feel uneven, and the visual gains just weren't significant outside of resolution. Now, I haven't actually gone back to it since that because, well, one, it didn't click with me, and I think the issues just put me off further. So look, if they've improved that frame pacing since launch, let everyone know in the comments. But do know if that frame pacing issue still exists, the fix is simple. Go to the options on Switch 2 and reduce that resolution to 1080p. For some reason, it clears it straight up. Before we do move on to other styles of upgrades then, the last upgrade pack I want to touch on via the eShop is Little Rocket Lab. It is confirmed to be bringing improved performance and sharper visuals. There's also reports of a 120 FPS mode. However, it's not fully out yet, but I didn't want to skip it since this list, it really aims to be complete for 2025, and this is the last one releasing. So what I'm going to do is, once it drops, I'll update the pinned comment with any information. Now this takes us into the more unusual Switch 2 upgrade paths. So first up, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. This upgrade works differently to the eShop upgrade pack system. So even if you own the Switch 1 version digitally, the Switch 2 version still shows a full price tag on the eShop. It never acknowledges your entitlements, nor is there an upgrade option. But when you launch the game, it quietly downloads a patch in the background, and that gives you access to a Switch 2 build, even though the game tail and everything else, it never changes. The good news, this also applies to the physical version. Collectors can use their cart and still get that upgrade patch. And the upgrade itself it's a big one. Far higher resolution, sharper textures, much more detailed environments. The whole thing looks massively more polished. Now it still targets 30 FPS rather than 60, which I know disappointed many, but visually, this is a huge leap, and genuinely, I think it is, at least on the go, a very decent way to play it. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 next, and this one is even stranger. I actually broke this news at launch here on YouTube, and let's just say I answered a lot of questions about it. But if you own the Switch 1 version digitally, the Switch 2 version simply appears as free to download on the eShop. It's actually a completely separate install, so you could keep the Switch 2 build installed, or maybe just share that out while you play the upgraded one. It's a very strange situation. However, this does not apply to physical copies. Those won't unlock the Switch 2 version. And because this was never officially advertised, it can change in the future. But players right now are still confirming it works. There's a comment on that video pretty much every day. And honestly, the upgrade itself, absolutely worth grabbing. It now runs at 60 FPS instead of 30. The resolution is higher and world detail way cleaner. Even like things in the world, things like mascots or active TVs, they weren't even present on Switch 1. They are in the new build. So yeah, it feels like a fully refreshed version of a great game. Dragon Quest III HD 2D is thankfully more straightforward. If you own the Switch 1 version, the upgrade is applied automatically. No separate Switch 2 version on the eShop at all. No extra cost either. Weirdly though, they only quietly confirmed this in a Japanese Direct, didn't really announce it anywhere else. So the upgrade is available to everyone, but most players kind of have, no idea. The big part of this upgrade, though, is a choice between performance mode, which is 60 FPS at a reduced resolution, of course, or quality mode for a higher resolution at 30 FPS. Personally, I went for the frame rate. It feels so good. But whichever option you pick, the HD 2D style here, honestly, probably the best it's ever looked. Deltarune is a simple case of cross-buy. If you own it on Switch 1, you automatically get the Switch 2 version at no extra cost, and vice versa. The upgrade itself, commenting on it, it is subtle, as you probably expect, but it's still welcome. The game now runs at a native 1080p in handheld versus 720p, and all that means basically is sprites, text, it looks much sharper, and loading and movement actually feels smoother through environments and battles. On top of that, however, there's a special mouse mode room, exclusive to this Switch 2 build. Basically, you use both Joy-Con controllers like pointers for minigames. Otherwise, it's the same Deltarune we all know and love. Lastly then, Nintendo has boosted a whole bunch of their own games. No upgrade pack, no extra steps, it's more performance improvements. If you own them, the Switch 2 enhancements, they download automatically. There's a fair few here to get through, so going to quick fire them. But ARMS gets noticeably sharper image quality and smoother movement in matches, plus HDR support for a brighter, cleaner look. Big Brain Academy, Brain vs. Brain, this adds GameShare for 4-player party mode. So yeah, get your friends to jump in, they don't need a copy of the game. Captain Toad, Treasure Tracker, looks sharper on both handheld and TVs, supports HDR, and it now offers full 2-player co-op through GameShare. Game Builder Garage benefits from clearer visuals and newly added Joy-Con mouse-style controls. That makes building levels much more precise. New Super Mario U Deluxe has improved clarity overall, cleaner edges, sharper backgrounds, especially noticeable on a large HDR screen. Pokémon Scarlet and Violet finally gets stable performance and clearer visuals, makes the open world so much better. This is actually a huge improvement over the rough ongoing state. Splatoon 3 offers sharper image quality and smoother movement in busy hub areas like the Plaza and Grand Festival grounds. Just makes everything feel a little bit more lively between battles. Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury brings us sharper visuals, smoother action across both games, and HDR support in Bowser's Fury. There's also then GameShare Co-op. This is actually a really nice upgrade package, this one. Big fan. Super Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2 then looks clearer with the visual bump, and there's Joy-Con mouse-style pointer support. It feels really natural for grabbing star bits and just interacting with objects. Super Mario Odyssey gets improved clarity, HDR support for richer colors, and GameShare Co-op. This an incredible game. It's even nicer now to replay on Switch 2. I was actually really impressed with how this one looked. 51 worldwide games then, one of the smaller upgrades honestly, but it gets GameShare support. It lets up to 4 players jump into 34 of the included games together. That's either locally or online through game chat. The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom then benefits from sharper image quality and HDR support, gives its art style an extra pop of brightness and contrast. The frame rate here as well, much better. Finally, Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, and very much the same thing. It looks even more like a toy box diorama, just thanks to sharper detail and HDR. Yeah, both of these games look absolutely incredible. And yeah, that's every free Switch 2 upgrade available in 2025, at least for now. Now, I will keep this video updated as new ones drop, so do hit subscribe if you do want to stay on top of it. You'll also probably see a few games mentioned in the comments, I have no doubt about it. So for example, Apex Legends and Fortnite. Technically, they do, yes, have Switch 2 versions, but they're separate builds entirely. And they were free to begin with, so I didn't count those as, I guess, upgrades. And Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Now, they do have, I guess, free upgrades on Switch 2, but only if you have Nintendo Online. But you're still paying for that membership, and without it, they are paid. Hence, their omission. Finally then, there are games like Pikmin and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Now, they actually had Switch 2 patches, but this was just to make sure they ran correctly. Those aren't upgrades, they're basically compatibility fixes. Outside of those, if you do spot a free upgrade I missed or one arrives after this video, please drop it in the comments so we can keep this list fully up to date. Let's make it a community effort. And finally, let everyone know which upgrades you've loved the most. Again, it genuinely helps people discover great stuff on Switch 2. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers all.